From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DDICB Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show. And boy, oh boy, man, I'm telling you right now, this is the Primetime Angles Live, and I got my boy, the Wendesday correspondent himself, the sports agent aficionado, national radio host, my man, Mike Abadir. What's going on, Mike? What's up with you, boy?
Pop, what it is?
What it do, baby? I hope you feeling good, feeling great, and hopefully you did 16 backflips in a row after you saw Frank Sanchez behind Canelo Saturday night.
Man, let me tell you something, Pop. I got to give you all the credit in the world. You turned me on to the guy, and I firmly believe that the Cuban Flash, Frank Sanchez, is going to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
I believe so, too.
He is going to be the heavyweight champ.
He's very skilled. He's probably the most skilled heavyweight in the division.
Yes.
He doesn't move like a robot. That's the whole thing. He's
Sorry, camera fluid. People.
He's very fluid. We don't get Mike sit. Don't worry. As more money comes in, we'll get Mike situated.
Yes. I need a throne. I'm going to need that throne, Pop.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to the same level as you in the picture, but I'm having trouble. That way I'm not way higher. You know what I mean? Maybe like that.
Right.
I'll get it right. I'll get it right.
You're good. All right, okay, man. Let's jump into it. Bob Baffert is not attending the Preakness this week in midst of a scandal with Medina Spirit. Now, Mike, one thing I have to say is this is the first time I didn't clap when, somebody won, like Bob Baffert won, because I've always admired Bob Baffert and everything like that. And knowing what I saw at the Santa Anita Derby, Medina Spirit didn't look like he was going to be anywhere near being a Kentucky Derby winner. And then he comes out and he runs the race of his life. And, he had a good little, excuse that, he's never been passed. Even though he finished second, a few more times than he's finished first. He's never been passed, though. But he's been in 4 or 5 horse field races, though, at the same time, too. So pretty much, Bob Baffert they wind up finding, the wrong type of supplements because all these horses take supplements. It's not that any of them are, are that none of them are, they're athletes. So they have to take their little medications, little things like that, little enhancements. But this one was legal. So Bob Baffert, this one is huge because Justify was also accused of being cheating as well too. And Justify is the Triple Crown winner, and that's kind of in question as well. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, let me ask you a question, Pop. If this wasn't Bob Baffert, right? What would we be talking about this? I just wonder how much of this is the haters, because when you look at the amount that was in the system, it wasn't enough to even power the horse. It wasn't enough juice to make him win or enhance his performance in any way. So I just have to wonder, if it was somebody else, any other trainer besides him, Chad Brown, and Pletcher, would there have been an issue after this Kentucky Derby? I don't know. I think a lot of the Baffert haters are out and out to get him. And I saw today Tim Gleishoff from the Midwest Circuit, Oaklawn and Kentucky, Churchill Downs and Indiana Circuit. he came out on Twitter and said the opposite of what I just said. He said, we give Baffert a free pass. If I was caught with this, I'd be suspended. It's not fair, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to hear all angles in this situation. It really boils down to a bigger issue, Pop. It's more than just Baffert or any of these other guys. It's why don't we have a national standard?
Right.
Right. Imagine in the NFL, the Saints have one standard for performance enhancing, and then the Raiders have a different one. That's what we're dealing with here. It doesn't make any sense. And I get it, each jurisdiction is autonomous from their neighbor's jurisdiction. It's time to do away with that and make some standardized rules when it comes to drugs.
Right. And you know what? I think that they are kind of going off the deep end a little bit back east and in the Midwest is that most of Baffert's horses run over at Santa Anita or Del Mar. When he takes those horses to those racetracks, it's always in a big race or it's always in some allowance that's $100,000.
He's going to take their dough.
Right. He's just coming to pick up money. That's it and that's all. So pretty much the victim here, if you accuse Baffert of constant cheating, is the California circuit, which is taking a stiff downturn over the last decade. And we both know this. You know, we sit here with 3 races on a Saturday with 5 horse fields. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to blame Baffert for this, but maybe that might be something that had other trainers who had good outlets say to themselves, you know what, we're going to just leave Santa Anita now because we don't like the way that, you know, one guy's so dominant, but we know what's going on. But we know that there's always somewhere where you got to get, when you win in any sport, your team has to always figure out some type of advantage that nobody else has. You know what I mean? And they call it cheating, but Al Davis used to call it winning. You know what I mean? So that's what I always think about Al Davis when he said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning.
So yeah, it goes back to the old adage, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Right.
Look, there's a real fine line. I think you're making a really good point. I think you're onto something here, Pop. There's a real fine line between pushing the envelope and cheating. There's a gray area there. And the greats, look at Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick has pushed the envelope so many times. Now, is that the reason that the Patriots have won? Because of they recorded, Spygate or something like that, or deflating balls or whatever? No, they would have won either way, but it sure helped. And I think the greats always know what the boundaries are and push it to the absolute limit.
Right.
All these guys are similar, like the Bafferts, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. All these guys have some similarities. They're winners, and they look for any edge they can get. Even if the edge, in football is one field goal for the whole year, that's an edge, and we're going to take it. Right? And racing is probably a millisecond of an edge. We'll take it. And we're going to win. And I think that's the killer instinct mentality.
I totally agree. I definitely agree with all those points. And I think that they're all very valid when it comes down to, Bob Baffert. I was really hot during the week, but then I had to have the story open up a little bit more. And I think that is just more about them being mad at the fact that Bob Baffert is the West Coast trainer that has seven Kentucky Derby wins now. And California has produced, I think, 70% of the winners in the last decade of this race. And so it's really not just about Baffert. All West Coast jockeys walk into the room with a lot of haters. Like my good friend Doug O'Neill, he doesn't win just as much as Baffert, but he has accolades that can match with Baffert, 2 Kentucky Derbies. You know what I mean? And you know that they're always going to think about they're going to always think about past little issues with Doug, but Doug is a hell of a trainer at the end of the day. And he's one of the best in the business because he really cares for the horses and things of that nature. And he tries to make sure if the horses retire or something like that, they're going to have a good home. They're going to still have a job, all that good stuff. So that's the things that the haters don't really understand about guys like Baffert and Doug O'Neill on how much they take care of these horses as well, too. You know what I mean? Because we have trainers in the business that treat their horses like absolute crap, but nobody knows that because they don't win. You know what I mean? They just go out there, throw a horse out in a race because they just fit the condition. You know what I mean? And nobody's going to say anything because their horse just, because they don't win. Nobody cares. But then you see their horses coming in there raggedy, hair unkept. You know what I mean? Just the little rascals of racing, those 12-5 claimers that are 8 years old, and they've gotten to you now, and you're just using them to just keep, filling the race card. These horses have no business being out on the racetrack, but you're still going to put them out there because they actually kind of ran half decent in the morning. You feel me?
Absolutely.
When you got really good horses, it's going to happen. You're going to put things in these horses that might not be legal in this state, but it's going to be legal in the next state. And it goes back to exactly what you said, Mike, where we have to have some type of we have to have some type of boards that's a national board, not the state board, because that's where people get real mad at. Is because every time Bob is in front of, say, the CHRB, if for some issue with the drugs, all of a sudden it goes away very quickly. And that's why a lot of people have their skeptics about Bob Baffert. You feel what I'm saying? But
I do.
At the end of the day, though, that's just business, though. And you know what? You're going to protect your stars. You really are. And without Bob Baffert, Santa Anita could have been shut down already because he provides $1 million horses on a weekly basis to run in races. Or he has big stable horses. And there's only about 4 or 5 trainers keeping Santa Anita intact at this moment. We both know this, Mike. And we can name all 5 of them. You know what I mean? And they're some of the best trainers in the world, period, point blank. They have more trainers than what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean, though. They have the majority of the horses that are running.
And plus Baffert brings that star power too, you know?
Right. So with that, why don't we talk about the actual race? So what do you like in this race, Mike?
Look, man, historically, we've seen that the Derby winner typically has been winning the Preakness, especially when it comes to Baffert. When's the last time he didn't go 2 for 2 in this sequence?
I can't even name it.
I don't remember when.
I don't remember when either.
I think all of his Derby horses have gone on that have won the Derby have either gone on to win the Preakness, or maybe in the 90s a horse finished nose second. So I think that's the answer, bro. I think we have a Baffert Preakness winner, which is going to add to the controversy that much more. But let me step back for a moment, Pop, from the Preakness and go back to the Derby for a sec. What does this all mean to the bettor?
Right.
How does the bettor? I know you could have some people complaining. Those that bet on number 7, right?
Right.
And number 9, they feel that they should be moved up.
Right.
But what does this mean to the bettor moving forward is the real question. For me, it's really simple. From now on, any horse that's in the field, in the Kentucky Derby field, in the field of 20, that raced in the Santa Anita Derby, it don't matter the record. It don't matter how that horse performed in the Derby. That horse must be on your tickets.
Right.
The Santa Anita Derby deserves huge respect.
It does.
Don't tell me Fountain of Youth. Don't tell me Florida Derby. Don't tell me any of these others. The Santa Anita Derby, man.
Right.
It produces the Derby winners. Bottom line.
Right. And then it produces horses that possibly can move on and win in a Breeders' Cup, or maybe wind up being in a big race years down the road. It all depends on how the owner approaches the situation with the horse. You know what I mean? Because if your horse is gelded, automatically that's a 7-year career if the horse doesn't break down.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because honestly, a lot of people have to understand if Sheriff Belief doesn't pass away, he would have probably smashed like every little big race, period, point blank.
Share Belief was fantastic. I love.
He probably would be running right now as well too if Share Belief was still around because they loved running him at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And Share Belief's, and I've always just feel that Share Belief's biggest moment was not being able to participate in Triple Crown because he would have smoked California Chrome easily at Kentucky, Pimlico, Belmont, wherever you wanted to put him at. And being there the day of when he won the San Anita Handicap, Mike, that day was one of the greatest days I've ever seen for a horse. Literally. He walked in like a ghost almost. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't even there. You know what I mean? Like he was that special. Like period, point blank. He walked in and you knew, you could just feel it when he passed by you. You know what I mean? Like this guy is almost like a ghost. Like this guy is like so many horses mixed in one, and he could be a great story and all that good stuff. He wins the San Anita Handicap, and then unfortunately goes to Charlestown, breaks his he fractured something. Well, it wasn't a fracture, but he had some chips in his feet, and they had to put him on the sideline. Then, as you guys know, his health situation started piling up, colic, and he was passed away over in Washington, after emergency surgery. And, bro, they reported that like he was an athlete that played like on the Lakers or something of that nature. It was like Kobe. Oh, yeah. It was damn near – it was like the horse version of Kobe. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, people were so sad about this because he's still an active horse. So, pretty much I digress, as Mike says. You know what I mean? I kind of went down memory lane a little bit, but I'm looking for that horse here that has that kind of shared belief, to him to where, maybe he might be a horse that's going to go a long way. And I'm trying to find that horse here in the Preakness right now myself, but I really, truly do think that the other Baffert horse will probably wind up winning this race because they gave that horse an extra 2 weeks off. That horse should be wound up, ready to roll with a group that's not as good as the group that was out last week. That
would be Concert Tour.
Yeah, Concert Tour. Maybe I thought he was going to sneak. Well, Baffert had the opportunity. He could sneak in Spielberg, Savanza. There's Baffert has a lot of horses, dude. And that's what's the craziest thing about it is he has so many talented horses. It really reminds me of the year California Chrome won the Kentucky Derby. Baffert had so many talented horses, but they didn't win the big Derby. But I'm always going to remember this day, though. Bayonne winning the Breeders' Cup Classic and me screaming at the top of my lungs because I just had hit that $4,200 superfecta on that race as well, too. I'm telling you, thank you to Toast of New York. He was the second place horse that day. And I said, I can't pass up a horse that's won on 3 continents now.
Good point.
And it's funny, they brought back Toast of New York 3 years later. And he was like, I was like, bro, is he like 20?
Seriously. That's too funny, man.
Because they said they tried to get him made, and they said they took him on a world tour. He didn't do well. So they put him back in training to run. I never heard of a horse go to the breeding shed, then be put back into being into running. What I mean? So, that's pretty funny in itself.
That's like the George Foreman of horses.
Right. Like, dude, they put you back in the races. Like, you're supposed to go off and enjoy life. But no, not you. All right. Mike, let's get to the NFL schedule real quick. Just released. What's the game that you see that really – well, we're at week 1. Let's talk week 1 because that's the only one that we do truly have. What do you think is the most important game of week 1?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with the Saints and Green Bay. Green Bay in New Orleans. It's the dawn of a new era for the Saints. First time without Drew Brees in a couple of decades, right? Since the mid 2000s.
Right.
And to be determined for Green Bay, right?
Right.
Do we have a new quarterback taking the baton, the one that went, Don Mikowski, the Magic Man, to Brett Favre, to Aaron Rodgers?
Right.
Who's next?
Right.
Right. It's crazy when you think about, there's only been 2 quarterbacks for the Saints since like the mid 90s. They've only, like, people that were born back then, they've only known 2 quarterbacks in their lives. Compare that to the Jets, right? Anybody that was born like in 85, they'd be like 10 years old in 95, right? They've gone through like 80 quarterbacks.
Right.
In Green Bay, you would have only known 2, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Will that be the case come opening weekend? Do we have the 3rd quarterback? I don't know. But that's why, to me, that is the most important, most intriguing matchup in the NFL. 2 franchises that have had superstar quarterbacks. One we know for sure won't have them. The other one we're not sure, but it's a big question mark. No bigger matchup in my mind than Green Bay at New Orleans week 1.
You know what? That's a very good matchup. But I think the game of the weekend is going to be this one, because this is going to be the game that's going to get a lot of air, the early week stuff.
No, I'm not seeing a graphic here, Pop.
Okay. The graphic's right there. NFL schedule release.
Oh, but I don't see any teams.
Okay.
Are we supposed to?
No. Don't worry about it. Just because I don't.
I thought you were saying right here, and I was like looking. I'm like,
yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything yet.
My apologies.
I'm
this is live TV, guys. This is how it goes. You have Mike Abadir confused beyond belief, and Pop setting the record straight. That's what you tune in for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good thing we don't have the director with the earpiece and stuff being like, guys.
Yeah, knock it off, Mike.
And you see, I own the show, so pretty much I don't have anybody in my earpiece saying, hey, 30 more seconds. Because, I think the one thing that I hate the most about ESPN, especially First Take, and I know if Jalen Rose ever hears this or sees this, he'll probably get mad at me, but we can have some words if we have to. His wife is the most annoying person ever. Like, dude, there's somebody making a point, and she will interrupt okay, back to go to commercial.
Yeah.
Dude.
She doesn't have a sense of time, man.
Dude, I know that they're yelling in your ear to go on, but let him finish the point. You feel what I'm saying? That's like somebody at the barbecue always interrupting you when you're talking to their significant other. Hold on. I need to ask him something. But we're trying to finish a business deal that can pay your mortgage at the end of the month.
Exactly. That's a good point, man.
All right.
I completely agree with you.
So my thing is this. I think that the Browns and the Chiefs have the most important game week 1, because the Browns are getting a lot of hype coming into the season. The Chiefs are still seen as the alpha dog of the AFC, but there's questions. You know that too. Let's be honest. Turf toe, Mike, you've been an agent in the game almost 20 years, bro. You know turf toe is a career killer. You know that. Deion Sanders literally gave up football for a few seasons because the turf toe got that bad when he was in Washington. But he did make up for things with Baltimore as a dime back, not as a premier cornerback anymore. It ended Patrick Willis's career, turf toe. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this turf toe situation is going to be something that Mahomes is going to fully come back from. And I don't know if the mobility that he has will be there as much as it's been here in the present time. And I think that's been a very big help to his game as well, too. But I think that I'm in the show me improve era. And I think that he has to show and prove. And I picked the Browns because the Browns are coming in here as the one team that did not lose too many. I don't think they lost any free agents really this year. Any key players that were with the Browns last year are still on the team.
Bringing everybody back, yeah.
Yeah, that is a Patriot type situation. They have a good coach here in Stefanski, and they are just building right now. The Browns aren't getting – there's no more regression. It's no more let's build and see what we can get. No, we have a team, and they built on top of that team with very good draft picks, and they were able to land Clowney as well too, making themselves one of the more dangerous defenses now with the pass rushing element to it with Garrett on one end, and then you got Clowney on the other end. This was the Browns needed Clowney when they played the Chiefs in the playoffs last year to put more pressure on Mahomes. And I think that this right here could be a statement game for the Browns going into Kansas City early in the season to show that, okay, last year was no fluke, and we are here and we're avenging our playoff loss from last season. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Turf toe, huge issue, clearly for Mahomes. And I agree with you. It's not an ACL injury, which is obvious, or like in a pitcher, a Tommy John, and that's just obvious. Turf toe's not as obvious. People are like, what? He'll come back from that. But you make a very valid point. A lot of these guys, it affects their game. Yeah, they can come back. Yeah, Mahomes will keep playing. But will he be playing the same way? Will it affect his performance? So I think that's a very, very big question mark heading into the season. Hopefully, he's one of the rare cases where it fully heals and doesn't roar its head and come back. As far as the Browns go, to me, the biggest issue about the Browns has always been the biggest issue about the Browns in this era is Baker Mayfield, the guy. And it's not a resounding yes, in my opinion. Some people say yes. I still think that's a big question mark. I'm not a big Baker Mayfield guy. But when you have Kareem Hunt, and Nick Chubb, and some nice receivers, you can kind of hide a lot of your flaws as a quarterback. So it really depends on how the Browns are going to utilize this guy and if they're going to get the most out of that offense, minimize Baker Mayfield's mistakes.
Right. And see, that's what made Baker so good last year. You had a coach that told you, I'm not going to ask you to go out there and be Joe Montana. I'm not going to ask you to go out there and be Steve Young. Just run the plays that are handed to you, and we'll go from there. You know what I mean? And then it winds up that they wind up having the best offensive line in the league because they got two of the best running backs in the league. So everybody was able to feed off of each other in that situation. So that's what makes the Browns really special to me. And the opening game of the season is in Tampa. And guess who's a part of that game? Jerry's boys. And I think this is a good one. We got Dak, who's going to be very, I would say, focused for this one. And then you have Zeke, who's all over the place. He was at the fight last week as well, too. Hopefully his focus is there because Zeke kind of doesn't care anymore, in my opinion. He's well paid, Mike.
Yeah, Zeke has peaked. Zeke has peaked. I don't think we're ever going to see the old Zeke again. Part of the problem is these college coaches run these guys to the ground.
Right.
So by the time they get to NFL, I mean, if you're able to get 4 or 5 really good years out of a really good running back, consider yourself lucky. The Frank Gores of the world are an exception. That doesn't happen normally, right? Usually it's just a very, very short window. And I think we saw the best of Zeke. He could still be a serviceable running back. But I think instead of, him being like the best in the league, he's going to be that guy that gets you like 3.8 per carry. Gets you a nice amount of touchdowns because he's got a nose for the end zone. But he ain't that guy anymore.
The dog doesn't agree.
Excuse me.
The dog doesn't agree about Zeke.
Hey, stop.
Bring the dog in and let's see what he has to say about Zeke. He's communicating, saying that Zeke is still one of the best running backs in the league. Top 5. Why are you doing that? But look.
Yeah, he just said, he said, hey, you're being unfair to Zeke. He keep going. Once again, this is live television for you folks. I apologize.
We just embellished things a little bit here. So real quick, Cowboys, Bucs. I like Tom coming into this game, but once again, I'm not gonna say anything anymore, dude. I've had my 2 cents argument on Tom Brady just doing too much, still being involved, trying to still be in the NFL, blase. But the thing is, though, the guy works so hard in the offseason, and he's such a very, I would want to say, he pinpoints everything, man. He's so calculated, dude. It's like, whoa, is this guy really a robot somehow, some way? And it's not even the skills are still there, because he's not even a top 20 quarterback in the league anymore when it comes to, really getting the ball down the field and throwing the ball. But when it comes to the brain and knowing exactly, seeing things for the 100th time, oh yeah, he's a master at that situation. This is why he can continue, because he continues to win football games in a convincing fashion. You know what I mean? And he showed that he's the type of quarterback that the whole team can rally around. And a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL don't have that glow. I wish Derek Carr of the Raiders had the same type of
locker room respect and mojo, right?
Respect as Brady, because if he did, the Raiders could be a way better team. You know what I mean? It's almost like if Derek Carr says pump it up, you'll see defensive guys look to the side like, well, you need to get your stuff together too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Stop holding on to the ball so much. You know what I mean? Maybe we could win the game if you don't hold on to the ball in the fourth quarter when it matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting because I feel that Derek Carr is pretty underrated overall.
Right.
I mean, there's very few people that can move the chains like him.
Right.
He can get you downfield with very little time.
Right.
I love Derek Carr. I think he's very underrated. I hope that he gets the respect that he deserves, but that's only going to come with some W's. He's got to get the team into the playoffs, win a playoff game, bring that mystique back to the Raiders, bring the winning tradition back to the Raiders, and he'll get the respect. He definitely will.
The one thing that excites me about this NFL season is that we have so many young, really good quarterbacks playing this year, and we haven't had a good stable of quarterbacks on at least 70% of the teams in the league in a long time.
Some of these guys better step up and merge, though, Pop, because we're now minus Breeze. Brady eventually is going to be gone, right? And Aaron Rodgers, who knows, he might retire. So it's kind of like we have Mahomes for sure to carry that torch for the league, but who's beyond him?
Right.
Does Lamar Jackson string a few years of excellence together, or does he kind of fade away like a lot of the types of quarterbacks that play his game? Usually the league figures those type of quarterbacks out. And by that type, I mean the ones that maybe aren't classic pocket passers. The guys that come into the league and have a run-first mentality. Those type of guys usually fade out. And so, I just need to see some guys step up beyond Mahomes before I can assert that the future of the quarterback position looks really strong in the NFL.
I heard that, brother. I heard that.
There's Russell Wilson also, stuff like that. He's kind of middle. He's been around long enough to be considered a veteran quarterback. There are some, don't get me wrong, but overall, in terms of the really, really young cats, it's Mahomes, and then we'll see.
And man, we will see, because I'm going to tell you like this. That kid Herbert is nice. That's all I can say. That kid Herbert is nice. And I'm telling you right now, the nicest division when it comes to quarterbacks right now is going to be in the AFC West. And that's why people want to make sure that they have, pass rushers in that division as well, too, to combat that situation. Because I'll tell you next year, if Aaron Rodgers winds up going to the Broncos, OMG, Sundays in AFC West games are going to be shootouts. They really are. They're going to, like, seriously. Defensive backs are going to be toast. I'm telling you, dude.
For sure.
I'm telling you. All right, so with that, let's stop digressing a little bit. We got to get into some baseball, talk some Dodgers, talk some money as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper. I'm here with Mike Abadir, and let's go ahead and look at hackclub.com, where you guys can go ahead and get your 10% off on any $50 order or better. Once again, this is hackclub.com. You guys get your 10% off right there in the show description on any $50 order or better. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another, and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
I got to give Mike to Roy Jones Jr. He's a beautiful soul. I saw him Saturday night, too. He worked the fight Saturday. Roy Jones?
Yeah, I saw him in the broadcast.
Yeah, he came out and he came out and talked to me and our partner as well, you know, and he's like, and he came over and somebody walked right to him and said, "Hey, Roy, I got something for you to sign." And he said, "Okay, sweetie, I got you," because he's pretty fine too. So, you know, I don't think that I could have walked up and said, "Roy, I got something for you to sign," without being like, you know,
yeah,
without him saying I gotta go to dinner.
Seriously.
But Roy is a class act. He loves all the fans. There were droves of Canelo fans out there every night at the Fight Hotel. And when Roy got there, he went out of his way to make sure he signed at least 6-7 autographs before he walked in the hotel. So those guys right there are the guys that everybody in boxing really, really loves. They don't roll up there like Mayweather with 75 guys and, hey, you know, I'm richer than you. No, they come up there and say, "I'm proud that you love me." You know what I mean? I love that you love me. And I love that mentality.
I agree with you, man. I never understood the Mayweather type of person. You know, I kind of was brought up like, you know, you don't really talk about money. You know, you keep financial things in your own backyard, you know, and that if you flaunt it or gloat it, you're just asking for trouble.
Right.
So that's just not my style. You know, I think when it comes to money, how much money I have doesn't make me better than you. How much money I have doesn't make you worse than you. It's not, shouldn't be used in the equation at all. It should not be used to, but Mayweather is like, I got more than anybody else that follows me on Twitter. And I'm going to show you how much I bet or how much I won on this football game or this horse race or whatever. And I'm going to show you those stacks of hundreds all over the place. That's just his style, I guess. You know, I mean, it ain't for me, but I prefer the Roy Jones type. I think from what I know, he's a very good man and the sport needs him, especially if they want to attract youth, you know, the youth, the younger fans. boxing and horse racing are kind of in the same place.
Right.
They're kind of sports of yesteryear that every once in a while have a little resurgence, and then everybody's like, it's coming back. But they need the staying power. And people like Roy Jones are doing their part.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna marry the two. I'm gonna put them old folks together.
All right.
Yes, we got to do it. Boxing and horse racing have had a relationship for you. They had a good relationship in the early days before the four major sports came along. You know what I mean? They used to run the world, so it is what it is. But let's talk about a sport that has always been in their group as well too, and it's seen as the American pastime. And let's talk about them boys from Brooklyn real quick that reside in Los Angeles, Blue Crew Daily. So Dodgers last night scored 5 unanswered in the late innings to beat Seattle. And Gavin Lux hit a absolute bomb last night to win that game. And I think that was Gavin's arrival moment. That, hey, I'm here. What's up? I'm the next big star here with the Dodgers. They gave up other guys. They made sure to trade other guys, but they never traded me. And I'm going to make sure that I compensate them for doing that. And he did. And those moments right there are like, okay, I know what I'm here for. Let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. And the Dodgers, as I said to Jeff yesterday, they should sweep this week. They got Julio Urias on the mound today. I think Julio is probably the most exciting pitcher in the National League right now because he has that World Series performance that he had, closing the World Series. His confidence has moved into this season as well, too. So pretty much my thing is I think the Dodgers are going to be good tonight. Justin Dunn is a good pitcher, though, too. Justin Dunn is a pitcher that gets a lot of ground outs, things of that nature, and he's a gamer. He's a competitor. So I like what he does as well, too. So how are you feeling here tonight with this one, Mike?
I'll tell you what, man. That hit by Lux, that bomb, couldn't have come soon enough, man. I mean, let's just say that didn't happen. The Dodgers would have been reeling. So that was a huge, huge, huge win. Let's see if the Dodgers can build on it. Let's face it, these last 3 weeks, they have not been good. They have not been good at all for the Dodgers. So that was a very, very important win. And wins like that oftentimes create winning streaks. And that's what the Dodgers need right now. They need to win some series and rip off some consecutive wins. Win 5 in a row, lose, win 7 in a row, lose, and boom, before you know it, they have like a 15-3, 15-4 record over the next 18, 20 games.
Right. And as I told Jeff yesterday, the Dodgers need to get to the meat of the NL West. They've been playing against literally, I think they played against one series with the with NL West teams to be exact. Well,
they haven't faced the Giants yet, right?
They played 4. 2 of them with the Padres, 2 of them with the Rockies. They haven't seen the D-backs yet. They haven't even seen the Giants yet. And the Dodgers, majority of the Dodgers wins, I even went over it on the show the other day. The majority of the Dodgers wins have came against the Rockies. 7 wins this year against the Rockies. After that, they've only won 12 more games.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So if you take the Rockies out the equation, the Dodgers are actually 12-17. That's crazy.
I'm right here.
I got you. What you got? So, the Dodgers really need to get into the meat of things, and they're pretty much even with the Padres this year because they took 2 out of 3 against the Padres. Padres came over here, took 3 out of 4. So them and the Padres are kind of in a middling situation, but we expected that. But the Dodgers need a piece of the Giants, and they need to and they need a trip to Arizona real quick to go ahead and get the bats heated up. Because the Diamondbacks had a worst pitching rotation in baseball.
I know, huh? Yeah, the best thing for a slump is to go up against the Diamondbacks, right?
Right. You need to go to Arizona and work some things out real quick. And it's getting hotter too. So it should be – I'm looking forward to the Dodgers, though. They're going to have a good season this season. They're playing against a lot of American League teams to start the year as well, too. I'm not worried about the Dodgers one bit. Now, if we get into August and they're still back and forth being inconsistent, that's when I'm going to worry. But I feel like by the time they reach June, the Dodgers are going to be in full bloom. It's that simple.
Yep. Completely agree. I think they're just way too talented to be having – they won't have a June swoon, right? They will not have a June swoon. I'm pretty sure about that. But you're right, man. So far, outside of the Rockies, the Dodgers haven't been good this year is the bottom line. Right. And so they need to step it up. Dave Roberts needs to bring in the troops and rally them and say, you guys are better than this.
Right.
You guys are not playing up to your full potential. And when they get good pitching outings, they're not getting hitting. When they rip off 15 runs, well, I guess in the game they got 15, they had good pitching. But, I mean, overall, it's not matching up on the same day.
Right.
When you look at a lot of the final scores, they're close, but where are those timely hits? You got to wonder, man, how much are they missing the likes of like Jock Peterson and Kike?
Right.
Because those guys weren't high batting average guys, but their home runs seemed to always be important.
Right. Right on time. Right on time. And I think that the Dodgers have to kind of work on that situation with a good slugger like Edwin Rios right now. Edwin Rios is a very good player. He doesn't get a lot of time because he's an outfielder as well too. So that's the reasoning for that, in my opinion, that he doesn't get a lot of time that he should be getting. But I think though at the end of the day, the Dodgers should be absolutely fine. And what you're pretty much telling me right now, Mike, is that when the Dodgers approach the trade situations that are going to occur in late July, August, things of that nature, they're pretty much going to probably be going to go get one of these veteran sluggers or hitters to be a guy that fills a role for them. You know what I mean? I would love to see him go get Miggy Cabrera just to, moonlight him at first base a couple of days a week. You know what I mean? To just give him a shot at a World Series at this moment, because he's still hitting the ball out the park very, very well. But don't worry, I'm not going to tell him to call Pujols though, because Pujols will only be able to sign up with somebody like the Cardinals or something like that. Maybe the Yankees could take a stab at him as well too. But it just really hurts my heart for Angels fans that they never got anything out of him, but paying him a $253 million contract for over 10 years.
You got to wonder what happened.
I don't know.
Was it just he left his mojo behind in St. Louis?
Artie Moreno. Yeah, I think so. Artie Moreno did a bold move for owner, in my opinion. Artie Moreno did the move to say that I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sign what I feel is the greatest Puerto Rican or Dominican player of all time. It doesn't matter how old he is, I'm still going to take him. It was almost like he used him as like a relic, you know what I mean? Almost like some type of, some type of property or something that was great years ago, but finally went on sale. But nobody told you why it went on sale, but everybody knew why it went on sale, but you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the Cardinals even said 3 months before that we are not going to give Albert Pujols anything near $100 million, buddy. We've asked him to take a pay cut, to be honest with you, because we got 3 other first basemen that are more than capable of being better than him right now. And he did digress just a bit, but he would hit towering shots, and at the time he was breaking records. So nobody really understood that Albert Pujols wasn't as good as he's supposed to be anymore. You know what I mean? So I felt bad for Trout, because peep this, right before we get into the money on these games. Peep this. They had Josh Hamilton fresh off the MVP and hitting 30 home runs in one sitting at New York State in at Yankee Stadium, and then winds up coming to the Angels and absolutely wasting their time. And I'm not going to get into the backside of that story because it's a sad situation, seeing somebody have to regress back to who they were before they were even on the Angels. But then that's another sign of Artie Moreno being a bad owner in a sense, because what did the Rangers do? They assigned him pretty much a babysitter, and who had a Bible in his hand all the time. And whenever Josh had a relapse or trying to think about a relapse or something, let's read a Bible verse. But Artie didn't do any of that. And then we know how Orange County is too. We're California people. And I felt like Josh Hamilton picked Orange County for a real reason. And it wasn't to play for the Angels.
Seriously, man. You nailed it. You nailed it. He probably needs to play like in, I don't know, Kansas City or something for the Royals. That's what, that would have been good for him, But yeah, I agree with you, man. Being in Newport Beach, probably not the best thing for my man Josh Hamilton. But you're right, man. Artie Moreno. What's that?
Or being in Santa Ana.
Or being in Santa Ana. No kidding, huh? No kidding. You can pick up whatever you want there.
I digress. Let's get into these games, Mike. All right, because I went off the rails. I'm not even talking about the Dodgers anymore. All right. Let's get to game 2 of the Padres and the Rockies today. This should be a good game going on. What I like about this one is that the Rockies coming to this one, Rodney Dangerfield style. Can I get a little bit of respect? 12-23. And, it's always a tough game at Coors Field. And there is no Tatis today. And I know this is going to be an overbet because Blake Snell is the pitcher on the mound. So pretty much we've seen this a few times. And I feel like the Rockies are just overdue to kind of play spoiler today. Even though they don't have the world's greatest pitcher going into the game today, in Gomber, I think that they got a shot. So I'm taking them with the plus 135. Real quick, Mike, what are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, man, look, Blake Snell hasn't been very good so far. Let's be honest about it. I don't know what's going on. Is it that he's learning the National League, learning like the different hitters and different lineups in the NL, and that just takes some time for adjustment. And then maybe the second time through the league is when you're going to get that Cy Young type of guy. I don't know. But so far, Blake Snell hasn't been that good. He's been average at best. And I agree with you, man. The value here is in the Rockies for sure. They do have that Rodney Dangerfield thing going on right now. I don't get no respect. And, the Rockies on paper are maybe one of the, bottom tier teams in the National League. But I'll tell you what, man, they put up a lot of runs at home. They will outscore teams at home, or they're going to make it really difficult for you to beat them at home. The play here is the Rockies.
Let's roll. And they got a game going right now. Rockies are up 1-0. Let's move on to another divisional game. It's going to be the Royals and the Tigers. Tigers got a good win yesterday, Mike. But, the Tigers only win twice a week. So, you got to pick and choose your days with the Tigers, but your Royals are still doing very well this year. So Mike is sitting pretty on that future bet. Mike, man, I give Mike major props because I looked at Kansas City's roster and I said it can't happen this year. But then I thought about that they have some good players from other places, that guys that were really good in other places, it just didn't work out with those teams. And pretty much Kansas City is doing like an old Oakland A's job right now. You know what I mean? Patching together with veterans and good young players. You know what I mean? Not big name young players, but guys that can just play Major League Baseball. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like they've been a good team this season because of that element. And you know what? People have to understand that Royals are not that far removed from being one of the best teams in baseball. You know what I mean? They had a good 2-year run where, they went to 2 World Series in a row and they were dynamite, literally. And they were one of the more exciting teams in all of baseball as well, too. So that's why I kind of really feel where you're coming from. And they got their ace on this mound as well, too, Dan Duffy. So, Dan Duffy's on the mound tonight. Dan Duffy has a great ERA as well, too. 1.26, 40 Ks, and then 10 walks as well, too.
You know, you kind of nailed it on the head, man. The Tigers win twice a week. That was very well said. That's probably all you need to know. You bet against them winning 2 in a row. If you did that all year, you're going to make a lot of money. Or 3 in a row, excuse me. They've already won 2 in a row. So are they going to win a 3rd in a row? Nope. Stops here. Nice little small winning streak stops right now. I'm taking the Royals to stop their big losing streak.
Right. And I think that's a good bet right there. I think I'm scoreboard watching more than anything in this spot, but we'll see how it shakes out. We'll see how it goes. But I think the game is going to be really close. I think your Royals can win the game, but I think the Tigers keep the game close, though, as well, too. So let's go ahead and move on. Interleague game here. And this was a great World Series as well, too, Mike. I talked about it last time we played each other as well, too. 1992 was the year. And we had the Blue Jays going against the Atlanta Braves, who had just came off of, the Atlanta was headed, to their 3rd World Series in a matter of years, So pretty much this was a big moment for them, after losing to the Twins and then coming back around. Well, they played the Blue Jays once, they took a year off, and then came back around and lost again. Well, it doesn't matter. But all in all, though, the Blue Jays and Braves played one of the better World Series when I talk about lineups. You know what I mean, Mike? Like, literally, both their lineups had so many all-stars, so many great players a part of that group. A lot of those guys aren't in the Hall of Fame, but still, at that point in time, they were the best of the best in the MLB. And I thought this was a very defining series for a team like the Toronto Blue Jays, who had spent all those years kind of just being in the Yankees' basement. You know what I mean? And I'm just going down memory lane for people that might not remember this World Series, but this was a very significant World Series in my opinion. But it's going to be a very significant game tonight because I'm talking about it. And I really do like the Blue Jays and Braves on what both these teams bring to the table. So in this spot, I really feel like Max Fried is going to be the better pitcher tonight, even though you get a little bit of value with Ryu. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I think you hit the nails on the head, man. I think the value here is Max Fried at home. A minus 115 isn't that bad for a favorite at home. And obviously the Blue Jays technically are the favorite because the Braves are. But the Blue Jays are, in terms of Las Vegas, it's very similar value-wise, minus 105 versus minus 115. I do like Ryu. I think he's a very good pitcher. But the Braves know that this is their time now to step on the gas pedal, right? They've been average the whole year. They've been like a 500 team the whole year. And they're exactly 500 on those at home, 9-9. The Braves, we know, are a good team, and they could put up a lot of runs, but they're going to have their ace pitching behind them. And so far, Max has been hurt, and he hasn't delivered in the short amount of time that he's been in the ball game so far this year. I think tonight it all comes together for him, and the Braves get the W.
Yes, I love it because I have them slightly getting this game as well too. But it's going to be still a really, really good game. Now we move on to another divisional game. It's going to be the Twins and the White Sox. Twins coming in plus 125. White Sox are minus 150 on the spread tonight. Dallas Keuchel is going to take the mound for the White Sox tonight as well too. So I like what I see here. I think what happens here is that we have ourselves a good game, but I think the White Sox can run away with this one. The Twins are absolutely dreadful at this moment. I'm not writing them off yet for the rest of the season, but at this moment in time, they're kind of in the position I would have felt the Royals would have been in. And I'm like, I think that they can come back from this in the coming months if, things turn around. But, it's a real disappointment if you're on the Minnesota Twins this year.
Two teams going in completely different directions.
Yes, sir.
Minnesota Twins have been garbage. They have one of the worst records in the American League. They're only bested by the Detroit Tigers.
Wow.
Chicago White Sox, on the other hand, they've now surged quietly to have the best record in the American League. 20 wins, 13 losses, a 606 winning percentage. Yeah, the Red Sox and A's have more wins, but by percentage points, the White Sox have the best record in the American League. They've won 4 in a row. They're on fire. And this is a time, and the White Sox know this, that they could put separation between them and their co-favorite to win the division with the Minnesota Twins. You bury your enemy. You don't give them life. You bury your enemy. That starts tonight.
Right. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can go ahead and get 2 or more runs, win from the White Sox, and have a good night. You know what I mean? So we move on to another divisional game, and that's going to be the Astros at the not the Astros, but the Angels at the Astros. Sorry about that. Angels are a slight doggy dog here, and the Astros coming to this one. The Astros got a good win last night. And pretty much with the Astros winning last night, they moved themselves up the echelon just a little bit. The Angels just keep falling back. The Angels just keep going. And man, it's terrible with the Angels. I'm sorry, dude. The Angels are just absolutely, they start the season off well, and then they just hit the wall. And then, they get rid of Pujols like, oh, that's going to fix anything. You know what I mean? But we'll see how it goes with this team. They're very frustrating. If you're an Angels fan, I understand your frustration, especially when you were fighting the Dodger fans over the last weekend and everything like that. So I understand your frustration because your team just keeps hitting itself upside the head. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I mean, look, the Angels are a cellar dweller right now.
Right.
And that's got to be a tough place, man. The fan base knows that Artie Moreno will open his checkbook anytime. But, like you said earlier, has he spent good money? I don't know. I think he's been foolish with a lot of his investing.
Right.
And it hasn't panned out in his favor. The guy's jinxed. I mean, Hall of Fame careers sink after they go to the Angels for whatever reason. The Astros, on the other hand, they've got a really good young pitcher going in Jose Urquidy. I like him a lot. By the way, check out my man, Yordan Alvarez.
Oh.
Jordan like Jordan, like Michael Jordan. This guy's been raking like the best of the best. Check out his numbers. Look what he did in his rookie season. Look what he's doing right now. He's picking up exactly where he left off after his rookie surge towards the end of the year. This guy is an absolute beast. And I believe that they keep it rolling. I think the minus 135 is a gift, as Ed Burgart would say. And Houston Astros make minus 135, an absolute gift.
I miss me some Eddie Bogart, though. But
no.
But my boy Mike is just as good. Mike is just as good. Can't take nothing away from Mike. And I'm still mad at Santa Anita for getting rid of him, too. No offense to Frank Miramonte, but I like my radio callers nice and cool. He has some sense of humor to it. You know what I mean? Frank Miramonte, I always feel like I'm at a horse racing movie when he's calling it like.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. Yeah,
like,
actually, you make a lot of sense because I really like Frank a lot. But I mean, you're right. I mean, he's good at throwing in the relevant verbiage,
right?
And even though it might be kind of funny, he's so businesslike that you don't really laugh,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain it. Like Michael Rona, he says stuff and I laugh when he says it,
right?
I remember the Santa Rosa Fair the other year. He was talking about a front runner that Frank Alvarado was riding, and the horse just hit a wall, man. He was like winning by 7 lengths, and then he just hit a wall. And so, I mean, I can't really do the accent. I wish I could, but it was something kind of along the lines of like, and Frank Alvarado's horse is gone like last week's paycheck, right? If he just throws it in so seamlessly, and it's just like, I'm like, dude, did he think of that on the spot? That's some funny stuff. Whereas Frank Alvarado, for Frank Miramonte, he's kind of like, remember the horse Danza? He's like, "Oh, Danza shows everyone who is the boss." Like the show Who is the Boss,
right?
You know, but it almost seems too like
cliche.
He thought of that before the race started, and he wanted to throw that in there. It doesn't come off as like witty on the spot.
Right.
So, anyways, that's my quick take. I love, by the way, Vic Stoffer. I think he's very underrated. I love that his passion comes through in the race calls every single time in a very exciting manner.
I agree, and you know, but at the end of the day, the GOAT is Trevor. He only does Delmore now, and I don't know if he's going to do Delmore anymore either because he didn't do it last year because of COVID. And he has a nice big farm out in Minnesota as well too. So you know that might have his attention more than calling horse races. But if the price is right, he'll be back. You know,
the guy's look, man. The guy made it on The Simpsons.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Yeah. Trevor is the man. He was right there in the heyday of the 80s Santa Anita, the 90s Santa Anita, where Santa Anita was a part of like everything in sports. So it is what it is. Let's talk about this final game. Then I'm going to let you go. Marlins D-backs. This one is between two teams that haven't been in the Major League Baseball that long. They're not 50-year-old teams. They're not American pastime teams. Okay, Mike?
True. They are not.
Both have World Series. Three World Series between these teams. And the craziest part about the Marlins and the Diamondbacks, they won these World Series within the first 5 years of the organization as well, too. But they were kind of cheating, so it's all good. It's all good. Not cheating in the sense like performance enhancements, but come on, bro. You got Schilling and Randy Johnson. And then you look on the other end with the Marlins first one. Yeah, Bobby Bonilla and Andre Dawson and all these guys who could play really good baseball at the time. And Florida and Marlins were still seeing that as a good team. So, you know, pretty much I digress. In this game tonight, I think that we are going to go ahead and watch the scoreboard here. I think we go ahead and get the over 8.5 here. And that's what I'm looking at here. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Completely agree. This is a scoreboard watch in terms of who wins this game, but you're going to see some runs in the desert. Weather's really getting warm. Balls are flying. The Diamondbacks are raking, and they're winners of 2 in a row. The Marlins are reeling, having lost 4 in a row, but they still have that plus run differential. So that means that they're playing very competitive baseball. They're going to put up some runs. They're just not able to get the W's going right now. Winners of 15 out of 35. It's not very good. Diamondbacks, on the other hand, they've now won a couple in a row, so they're creeping back towards 500. They're both in need of a win right now. They're both going to fight and claw and scratch and do whatever they got to do to put up some runs. The play here is over 8.5.
Let's go. That's where we're at. And, man, I'm telling you right now, another great time with my man Mike Abadir. Hopefully you'll be back next Wednesday, but I'll see you Saturday for sure.
Big fight this weekend.
We'll be on the floor. You guys make sure to be watching Showtime this weekend, watching Brandon the Heartbreaker Figueroa, the WBA champ, going against our guy, Luis Penderaneri, the baddest man at 122. So you guys make sure to watch that weigh-in as well, too. We got a little surprise for you there.
It's going to be a nice little surprise. All I know is X marks the spot. And we will be rooting on Neri loud and clear and hopefully make 100 times our money.
That's right. So you guys already know. And you guys all go hit up 100x.coin. You guys go ahead and go get your coins on up because right now you can really break the bank if once things get right to where they need to be. A small investment can turn into a big reward, okay? So you guys check it out, 100x coin, and don't worry, I'm giving them free promo because they are a partner, and much love to them as well too. So pretty much shout out to the team up there in Sacramento. Mike, it's always beautiful talking with you.
Thank you, my friend.
You use that VSS promo code for that Paramount Plus, so you can watch John Taffer all day long yell and scream at people about overpouring alcohol. So there it is. Use the promo code Paramount Plus VSX. and we will be right back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, what's going on, world? I'm back, and it is time, and we're here at the stretch drive of the show as well too. So it's time to talk about the NBA a little bit, and we got Talkin Tickets coming up at the end of that. But shout out to Andrew Wiggins, former #1 draft pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers, that shortly traded to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love to set up that 4 championship run that the Cavs had. And, you know, he was a pretty beneficial part to that. Things didn't work out in Minnesota the way that they were supposed to, but he found himself a good spot here with Steph Curry and the former champions, the Warriors, and he got himself a good win for this team last night as well, too. Average getting himself 37.7 rebounds and 3 assists, and he was seen as the top player of the night. And, you know, when you win the game, well, we will reward you with the primetime player of the night, and Andrew Wiggins was sure of that. So congratulations to Andrew, 37.7 rebounds, 3 assists, and he keeps the Warriors in the race to be in the play-in as well, too. All right, so we move on to our next topic in hand, and that's time to get into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers, impressive win last night by the Lake Show last night. And let me tell you something. The New York Knicks are not to be overlooked anymore. The New York Knicks are a dynamite basketball team. They play basketball the way that basketball is supposed to be played. And I was kind of rooting for Julius Randle a little bit last night as well, too. I love seeing him make sure the Lakers know that they made a big mistake not bringing him back. Now, I know that we had to sacrifice him to bring LeBron, but at the end of the day, you really didn't have to sacrifice anybody. You just had to go get a coach like Frank Vogel who could have got these guys in gear. You know what? At the end of the day, Luke Walton wasn't a fit. I love Luke Walton as the head coach of the Lakers, but he was too green for the Lakers. You know, he had a lot of success in Golden State because that team could coach themselves. And, you know, we all made up the excuse that he was giving them an advantage because, you know, comes from a championship situation with the Lakers. But I think that he should have kept being an assistant for maybe about a year or two longer, and he should have came from the college route to the NBA, not NBA coach right away, because he coaches like a college coach, to be honest with you. And I thought that Arizona was going to break the bank for him, but they said, nah, we ain't going to do all that. So, you know, Lakers last night, great game. And you know who came up big last night? Of all people, THT. Tucker's been having a lot of issues this year because a lot of people feel that, you know, that he's a little, you know, lackadaisical, you know, kind of reckless player in a sense. But you know what? At the end of the day, he's still a young player. and he has a lot of confidence from LeBron and AD. And sometimes that confidence can get a little overwhelmed in a sense. So I think that pretty much that shot right there proved that, okay, you know what time it is. We're about to begin to a real crunch situation here. 39-30 on the season. They're still chasing the Blazers for the 6th seed as well, too. Lakers had a stronghold on that 5 seed for a good 2 months, but now everything's getting real. So LeBron, I'm hearing, should be back tonight, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. But I still think the Lakers do clean the Rockets' clock tonight as well, because the Rockets played last night and the other night, and they got absolutely smoked. Now they are back on the road against the Lakers tonight. And I think what happens here is that if you get LeBron back, he possibly gets a triple-double tonight, because this is the type of team that you get a triple-double on. Now, AD was huge in the game as well, too, able to get those fouls late. And AD always figures out a way to really assert himself. And AD knows that it's been time to really step it on up. So pretty much I liked what I saw at the Lakers last night. Kyle Kuzma was very aggressive as well, too. He's actually been playing better basketball since he got rid of his die do. So pretty much we have that in place as well, too. So, the Lakers will be fine. They're playing against the Rockets tonight. And I'll be dead honest with you. I think the Lakers went out for the rest of the season. The Lakers have 3 games left on the year. I don't think they lose another game for the rest of the regular season. But I'm not going to say they don't lose a game in the playoffs, but I will say that they might not lose a game here in the regular season for the rest of the year. So we'll see. 3 games to go. It starts with the Rockets tonight, and we will see how it shakes out, and we move on from there. Let's go ahead and get into the NBA preview. And we got the Wizards at the Hawks. I know I had this game the other night, but we only got 6 games tonight. Wizards coming in here as a 6.5 point favorite. The Hawks tonight, and then we have the Wizards, who are being led by Russell Westbrook, the Brody, who just broke the triple-double record of Big O. So, he's going to be feeling himself coming into this game, because, the Wizards are actually playing for a play-in as well, too. I know Bradley Beal is going to be out for the rest of the regular season. I'm hearing he'll be back for the playoffs and things of that nature. But Russell Westbrook says it's okay. He can take this team on his own and go forward from there. So pretty much this one right here is going to be a really good game. It's a divisional game. I think that what happens here is that, you scoreboard watch, and I don't think that, this 238.5 is something that can be hit very easily on the under, because that's how I feel in this game. I feel like they're going to have to stay under in this spot. Well, they don't have to stay under, but they will stay under in this spot, because I think they're going to try to find a way to control Westbrook just a little bit, because he's playing like an absolute madman right now. All right, we got the Celtics and the Cavs tonight. Celtics and Cavs. Celtics coming into this one heavily favored, 7.5 point favorite to the Celtics. Sorry about that. The Cavs are not the favorite in this game. I don't even know why I put that in there. I'm very sorry, but this game actually is the Celtics as the favorite. And I think what happens here is that you have 2 teams that going in 2 different directions. The Cavs are thinking about the offseason. The Celtics are thinking about the postseason. So easily, exactly where this game is going to go. A lot of people are going to overbet the Celtics, but that's okay, because right now the Cavs can't be trusted anyway. So it is what it is, and we move on to the Spurs at the Nets. And what I'm doing here with the Spurs at the Nets, I'm going to go ahead and get the money line on the Spurs today, who are going to be my dog of the day in the NBA. I think that they got a good chance to beat Brooklyn, because you got James Harden coming back tonight, and they're going to have to get used to having James Harden back. And so usually when they bring back in a star player, those teams usually lose, or the game is fairly close. I say the spread tells me that the Spurs, who just came off of a 21-point victory, dropping 146 points, are absolutely ready to play a Brooklyn Nets team whose defense is absolutely terrible. So pretty much we'll see how it shakes out, see how it goes. I like San Antonio a lot. I'm taking them with the plus 170. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's see how it goes. We move forward from there. We have the Pelicans at the Mavericks. Right, yeah, Pelicans at the Mavericks. This wound up being a back and forth game. Last time out, so this should be another really good spot. And you know what? The Mavericks got absolutely blown out last night. So when I see this 8 on the Pelicans, I tell myself that the Pelicans could be a sharp play tonight. You know, if you just really want to get something sharp, they should be sharp tonight. So we'll see how it goes, see how it shakes out, and we'll go from there. Now we have the Blazers at the Jazz. Blazers at the Jazz presents a lot of different elements here. So you have a team that's won, a league best 50 games already, and then you have the Utah Jazz. So everything is about to be, I'm telling you, this is going to wind up being a really, really good game tonight because the Blazers need it badly. The Jazz want to keep a stronghold on their position as well, too. And it's a Northwest game as well. So we'll see how it shakes out, see how it goes. But we got the Blazers at the Jazz tonight. Should be a good one. And let's go ahead and get into Talkin Tickets. And then Talkin Tickets, this is what we're looking at. We got the MLB PrimeTime pick 650 to 1. We're going to go with the Rockies plus 135, the plus 1.5 on the Tigers, the Braves money line minus 120, the minus 1.5 with the White Sox tonight, over 8.5 Angels, Astros, and then under 8 Marlins, Diamondbacks. All right, so we move on to our next. It's going to be the NBA Super High Five, and this one is going to be a 35 to 1 ticket. And in the NBA Super High Five, we have ourselves another really fun matchups. Once again, as I said before, the under 238.5 with the Hawks and Wizards. Celtics minus 7.5. The Spurs money line plus 170, and then the Pelicans Mavs over of 224.5. And then you have the Jazz money line at minus 125. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and check it on out with UWager. UWager, where the world bet's at. Use my promo code VSXPOP. You guys will receive up to 50% on a match deposit. And if you guys go ahead and give up $300, they'll go ahead and give you a $150 free play. And then you're on your way to your sports betting journey. Once again, use that promo code VSXPOP. UWager, where the world bets. All right, so that's going to be a wrap on the show today. I want to go ahead and thank everybody who participated and watched the show today as well. And I want to thank you guys so much once again for helping the movement move. Big things are on the way. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. And we'll be back tomorrow. And we'll have Horsing Around back very soon as well, too. I know I missed it all last weekend, but we'll have Horsing Around this weekend as well. So have yourself ready to sit in front of the screen and watch me work. So there it is. This is the premier sports betting show with one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And this is the Primetime Angles Live. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.